Okay, we're recording a short interview with Limo Gogan, of founder member of Parental Equality, who I brought to the attention of my parental alienation petition, and more recently a response by the HSE to a query about parental alienation by Piers Doherty, TD for Donegal.
Okay, Paul. So, I became aware of your petition when you sent it me a number of months ago. I signed it obviously at the time. I passed it on to other people. And I suppose I was frustrated for you that you were getting so little traction, particularly from politicians, and no one was dealing with this. I knew you had, or someone had had a question asked by Caoimhín O'Caolan from Sinn Féin of was it the then Minister for Health at the time?
I think it was Leo Varadkar was the then Minister for Health.
Right, who is now our now our Taoiseach. And at that time, the answer came back that, parental alienation is not recognised as a disease by the WHO. Is that right?
And that's not in the ICD.
So it wasn't.
International Classification of Diseases.
Yeah,
so what happened was more recently I brought this to. I sent out an email to all the politicians in Ireland, and I got a response from a local councillor, Gary Doherty, of Sinn Féin, who was supportive of the petition, and I brought it to his attention that Caoimhín O'Caolan had previously asked a written question to the then Minister of Health, Leo Varadkar, about this, and the response was that it wasn't recognised by WHO, World Health Organization, and it wasn't in the International Classification of Diseases, and that since that in June 2018, it has been recognised by the World Health Organization, and it is now in the International Classification of Diseases. That's where I'm at. Since that, Piers Doherty has asked a question regarding that, and I feel that the response by the HSE is not correct.
Okay, so just to say, it was on Facebook last night, which was Friday. I think this is maybe it's Friday, 25th of January.
Yeah,
2018.
that's right.
I noted you posted the 2-page letter response from the HSE, and I'm going to share that with you on screen now. So right. I have captured that, and I'll share that because I just want to do some clarification that I'm interested in relation to it. So I'm going to share with you 2 photographs. So the first one, I suppose, is to identify the authenticity, the seniority, and the corporate governance responsibility of whoever signed this letter on behalf of the HSE in response through a Dáil parliamentary question to Piers Doherty TD. So the person who signed it, and you can see in this, is Sinead Reynolds.
Yeah.
She signed it herself. It's not signed by PPB or anything else. She's the General Manager of Mental Health Services. So I regard this as a document which has been signed by a significantly senior corporate person within the HSE, representing the position of the HSE and basically setting this out and covering the position of the HSE as would be supported by the Minister in relation to this. So I go back into the body of the letter. So again, just to review the question essentially was, and I just press it, is to ask the Minister for Health if parental alienation is recognised by the HSE. So that was the question. And the answer further down, as I move this, so we're in the centre of that page. So I'm now focusing on this paragraph, which is, as you'll see, a red section underlined. I'll just read the detail of this. Again, I'll read a Pressy version. Just the first line said, parental alienation is a controversial entity originally described by James Gardner in 1985. He was an American guy. Now, it is not recognized as a clinical entity by the American Psychiatric Association. So the HSE are claiming that in some way, because it's not recognized by the American Psychiatric Association in their classification of mental health disorders, this in some way supports the HSE position. Furthermore, in the section which I have underlined in red, nor is it, so what we're saying the it is, nor is parental alienation recognized by the World Health Organization in their standard diagnostic tool, the International Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems, ICD, most recently updated in 2018 as ICD 11. So I'm now reading this, Paul, and, you know, I'd say Paul has told me before that this disease is now a classified disease. I am now being told by a person which, like Paul's just like me, another lay litigant person, a member of the community. I have no skills or authority in this arena, but someone called Sinead Reynolds, who's a general manager of mental health services, has presumably, both, like, these people have 17 billion of taxpayers' money to provide them with resources, has carried out the requisite research that a professional person would have done, and has confirmed that you are wrong, Paul, and that it is not recognized. So you and I have had a conversation about this, because I'm saying, you know, Paul, it seems to me she has a better card than you. You are wrong and she is right. Do you still hold your position as correct?
I would specifically say it's incorrect, that because if you go into the International Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems, the word parental alienation is there, and there is a description of a subcategory of which is described.
All right, so just a moment, I'm going to stop sharing this with you, so we're back on my screen.
Okay.
So I'm going to carry out this counterfactual test, essentially. I'm going to go in as an outside person, and I'm going to place myself in the position of a professional person. I mean, I'm a professional engineer and a lecturer and a retired lecturer by qualification. So if I were to stand over something and I said, does this exist? I would at least research if it exists. So the place I've claimed that it doesn't exist is called ICD 11. So I'm going to try and share with you now. Just bear with me while I do this. I need to, because I'm doing this from an iPad, so I want to share with you a broadcast.
Okay.
So I need you, when we get there, to be able to tell me if you can. So
I can see your desktop, and
okay,
I can see.
So I now want you to. So in relation to just prior to come on here, I had a conversation with you. So I said, look at, okay, Paul. So this ICD, this is the document, ICD.WHO.int. So this is the document. When, of course, when I went into it, I just thought I'd see something very simple like parental alienation is a disease. And I realized it's a very, very complex, all-encompassing document on world diseases. So by definition, it has to have a database and a searching structure. So you can see a search box up here in the top. Yeah. And that's the one which tells me things. So here's, for example, I'm going to do what I think a professional person, like unless I knew this document inside out, I would simply do a search term, like I would do in Adobe Art. I would search for terms. Yeah. So I'm going to write the word parental alienation, parental alienation. And I see it's already coming up here. So I'm going to write it there.
So you spelled the spelling's wrong.
Oh, of course, spelling always helps, yeah.
It does.
So I press the word parental alienation, and then
it categorizes as QE52.
Sorry, Paul, just again for viewers. Sorry, Paul, just again for viewers. I just want to, I may have skipped the steps there. So I press print. So what happened immediately when I did that is that the word parental alienation shot up on the left-hand side, and then it gave me, it linked me to what the word parental alienation in the database of the ICD-11 referred me to a thing called QE 52.0, caregiver child relationship problem, which is described as a substantial and sustained dissatisfaction within a caregiver child relationship associated with significant disturbance in function. Now, I'm not a specialist in this field. All I know is that I put in the word parental alienation, and it recognized it as being part of that disease category. So, so I said to you, well, you know, well, maybe this person, you know, maybe they didn't know about this. But on the other hand, this person is responding to a question put by a public representative, elected representative, Dr. Dála Pierce Doherty, to a specific question. This person has made it, and we'll go back to the, they said parental alienation is not recognized in this ICD-11, and I've just shown that it is. So when I discussed it with you earlier, you said to me that as a counter factual test again, we decided to look back in the earlier version. So in this tab here, I have the earlier, which was the current version before this 218 version, 2016. And similarly, I put in the term parental alienation, right? parental alienation, and it comes up with no results found. So this is important. So let me say, this has proven to me that in the ICD-10 version, which was only updated in 2018, but which this person, the senior health manager in health or mental health manager in the HSE, has acknowledged that the thing had changed in late 2018. So their research is based on the latest stuff. In the earlier version, parental alienation was not a searchable term within ICD-10.
That's right.
When we go to the more recent one, which is covered by the letter in which she claims it doesn't exist, the reality of it is that parental alienation comes up, as one you can see there.
Yeah.
It comes up in the search box. So
yes.
The term parental alienation, by definition, is recognized. So this is factual evidence that it's recognized within the WHO database. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to kill that recording, Paul.
Okay.
And then I'll come back onto the main screen then with you in Zoom. Okay.
Yes.
So we're back. So from what I can see, Paul, is we have a situation where you have been trying to bring this to the attention of the authorities before. It was when Leo Varadkar was minister. Leo Varadkar could comfortably say that it's not recognized by the WHO. It has been searched for, doesn't exist. You now have a situation where in January 2019, we have, and I'll go back to my photos again to repeat both the person and the statement. We have Sinead Reynolds, the General Manager of Mental Health Services in the HSE, writing on, just to get a date, on the 22nd of January 2019 to Pierce Doherty, in which she claims that, and again, I'm looking at the section which is underlined, and picking the two words from the start of that paragraph, parental alienation. She says, nor is it, that being parental alienation, recognized by the WHO in their standard diagnostic tool, the ICD, which is most recently updated as ICD 11. So this claims that at a corporate governance level, the HSE are stating that it doesn't exist within the ICD database, and we have factually proven that this is correct. Now, what jumps out at me, Paul, is in terms of, firstly, I question whether the person, Sinead Reynolds, should be holding her position. In other words, my simple reaction to all of this is she is either professionally incompetent and not being able to do proper research and therefore should not occupy her position, or she is ethically incompetent that she knows it exists and that she's covering it up. They're the only two possible explanations, because everything I've done, I've evidenced it there. But the real issue here comes back to a quotation that I heard from a man called John Abbott, which is that in times of change, and we're talking about a change situation in the changing of the ICD classification, in times of change, the learners inherit the world, while the experts are exquisitely equipped for a world that no longer exists. So therefore, I put it as a proposition that what we have here is that the possibility that Sinead Reynolds is one of these experts and relies on a type of expertise that is no longer valid in the present world. And what I'm aware through you that there is a conference being organized in May this year in a School of Learning in Trinity College Dublin by Brian O'Sullivan and others who have been committed learners to this new reality and developments in this reality. And it would appear to me that there are a group of professional committed learners to the new future and the new reality who are in a position to support the learning of those out-of-date experts like Sinead Reynolds, who could possibly re-equip herself and, you know, perhaps with training, re-establish some competence for her position. Because for me, this misleading statement, in fact, this incorrect misleading statement damages me as a member of the public in that I am being misled either through knowledge or incompetence. I'm being misled into relation to what's actually out there. So I'm delighted you brought this to my attention, Paul. I seriously think that in the light of this information, when brought perhaps through Pierce Doherty back to the attention of Sinead Reynolds and those within the HSE, and particularly the Minister for Health, that I think there's a wonderful opportunity here. There is a paradigm blindness, obviously, within the HSE in relation to this, and there's a wonderful opportunity going to emerge in May by this conference. And it would seem to me obvious that the HSE, now in recognition that it is included in ICD 11, should be getting behind the financing, supporting the proselytization and the spreading of this information to all other professionals involved in this field, that they might hungrily and willingly and supportively attend and engage with this conference to try and basically do catch up. This is like, you know, a catch up player. They should have been ahead of the curve in this. They're behind the curve, and people are suffering. If it's a disease and it's acknowledged, and people are suffering without services. We've already seen in cervical cancer and things like that, where mistakes are made, people suffer. So there's an obligation, it seems to me, on the HSE to get in front of this, to come out, to not only participate in this conference, but to make sure that it is successful, to provide whatever financial support is made available, and to make sure that information infiltrates into all aspects of HSE service delivery. What do you think of that, Paul? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does all make sense to me. But the most important thing is parental alienation, as you well know, Liam, has been in existence for hundreds of years, ever since people have split up. And
yeah, but I mean, what I would say here is that
time where it's taken this long to be recognised is wrong.
Yeah, but look, I'm at a stage, you can see from my hair and all the rest, that does it really matter to me? I mean, it's not affecting me in my. I'm not thinking in those space. I'm in a real cynical world now. That I really only have time for evidence. I didn't, you know. It's not that I doubted your word. It all seemed a little too complex for me. And even there, when I saw it in ICD 11, I felt, look, maybe Sinead, somebody about, maybe she didn't really understand, or maybe thought it meant something different. But I do accept your argument. Yeah. You asked a question about parental alienation. She addressed the response as parental alienation. She said that term doesn't exist. She said it does not. It is not recognized. You showed me that it was recognized, taking me through a factual, evidence-based research exercise, which I just carried out for you. I expect no less from paid professionals in this state. I expect no less from senior professionals, and I expect no less than ministers for. If I were a minister for health and I had been exposed in that way, I would be extremely unhappy that any public servant, a senior person, did not one get the right answer, and secondly, having had it pointed out to them that they had got the wrong answer, didn't get up off and their butts and clean up the mess and get around the business of this is about, you know, present and future parents and children's interpersonal relationships.
That's right.
The disease damage been done to them. If now the WHO are on board, and look at the nuance and the parsing out of what this means or that means is less relevant to me now, because I did a search using those terms.
Yeah.
And anybody who's confused in this, you're going to record this in Zoom. I hope you're going to publish it. And anybody who's sure of that, my invitation always is go back, scrub back through the timeline and look at the detail. And you know, as Sting once said, but in fact I realized later it was Maynard Keynes that said, when the facts change, my opinion changes. And therefore I would hope to God that when the senior people in the HSE, that the facts have now changed.
Yeah.
That in spite of Sinead, you know, putting out the incorrect message, this is false, this is what do you call it? Fake news. What she has put out is fake news.
Yes, it's fake news.
It's not satisfactory. Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
okay,
before I get too serious, and I have an apoplexy, which must be a disease as well. We'll have to leave it at that. Okay.
Okay. All right, Liam.
All right, Paul.